Hello and welcome to the Gaily Planet, the final Fronqueer, a podcast where two queer nerds talk about Star Trek: The Next Generation. I am Lark Malachi Gray.
And I'm Jesse Blount, and today we're talking about episode 2 of season 3, Ensigns of Command. But first, we have a bunch of cool things to talk to you about. Pride.
Yes, because it starts in how many days are in May? 31. It starts in 3 days, I think, from when you're listening to this. And we're doing a bunch of cool stuff. And most, but if you're going to fast forward because you're like, I already know all of this stuff or whatever, most importantly, we need you to send us your silly advice questions. It's urgent because the deadline is June 1st. So go to #ruthless.com/contact. And the way it works is this. We are going to give you advice on your questions that are silly, weird, irrelevant. Um, anything where it's like not important, but like is fun to ask and have us answer as if it's a serious question. So last year we had someone be like, I'm too bisexual to know what color to paint my nails with like a good description of like what the conundrum was, or someone else who was like, my children simply will not consume these little chocolate cats that my friend gave to them, and I don't know what to do. So like send it to us like you're writing to an advice column, but like about the silliest thing you can think of, please and thank you.
Yeah, if you would like us to figure out names for your plants, the best way to eat string cheese, these are the kind of questions we're looking for, folks. 'Cause the, R.I.P. me eating string cheese, but
You actually really don't want to take my advice on that because as a child, I would 100% dunk my string cheese in grape juice. I
I
am not a
mean,
trustworthy source on how to eat string cheese.
listen, a cheese fruit combination, very classic. Come
Oh
on.
yeah, I was so sophisticated. Oh
You
my
were
God,
so
you're
ahead of your
right.
time.
I might as well have just been having brie with marmalade or whatever it is.
Exactly.
So yeah, the deadline to send those June 1st. Get them in, and then get ready for fucking Pride with #Ruthless because we are it is our busiest time of year.
Yeah, this is, the second biggest time for us. First being, of course, Halloween, maybe. So we have so much gay shit that we are doing. We have special episodes. We have a sticker sale. We have, Patreon Drive. And you can read about all the cool gay shit that we're doing in our newsletter, which is linked to this post. And you can, of course, also buy Pride merch from us, designed by actual queer people and not by underpaid people at Target.
Yes, exactly. And because, as you will, if you're watching on YouTube, see momentarily, we are recording this in the future. I now know Jesse and I decided on the design for our Sticker Club Pride sticker, and it is inspired by Hairspray, which is our Pride Patreon bonus episode. You're not going to want to fucking miss it. So, yeah, please give us money and be gay, you know? It's gonna be great.
Yeah.
Okay, so like I just said, doodly doo, because we're about to change clothes. Jesse's about to change backgrounds. It's gonna look so different in
Yes.
5, 4, 3. Okay, now I'm gonna do my summary in front of Jesse for the first time because now that we're doing video recordings, it's kind of weird for me to like do it solo.
To cut it in. Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, and listeners, in case you don't know this, I just do them from memory, which is why they're so chaotic, but I that from the feedback I get, that's what you guys like about them. So, okay. In this episode, I feel so self-conscious. Oh my God. Okay.
This was me last week, I think, where I was just like, oh my God, people are looking at my face, what my hands are doing, and I'm like, oh, how do I speak?
Yeah. All right. So in this episode, we start off with we start off with Data. Yes, yes. We start off with Data doing a performance, a recital, if you will, of, an instrumental quartet. And he's playing violin, and Picard and Crusher are attending. And Data's like, oh, you guys, because I'm an android and don't have feelings, I'm like terrible at violin and stuff. And you should probably come back tomorrow night when someone else will be doing the violin part. And they're like, Data, shut the fuck up. You're great. Go play violin. But then the second he starts, Picard gets called away because something is happening and he has to leave the room, and Data crumbles. This is really a very Data heavy episode, everyone. But Picard goes to the bridge and they're getting called by some weird, kind of gooey, almost aliens who are like, hey, we have a treaty where we own a bunch of space. The Federation gave it to us, and we just went to colonize a planet, and there's a bunch of fucking humans on there. What the hell, man? And the people on the bridge are like, humans, that planet is full of radiation. What the hell are you talking about? But they go there to check it out, and turns out a colony ship crashed there, and now there are 15,000 people living on this planet who are immune to radiation. And it's really bad radiation that somehow fucks up transporters and phasers and other ships' functions. And the humans slash other beings on the Enterprise are not immune to it. So they send Data down in a shuttle to be like, yo, you guys have to leave. They don't yet know that there are 15,000 people. Anyway, so Data goes down. This gay couple meet him at the shuttle, and they're like, oh,
sure
hello. We're from the colony ship that crashed. There are 15,000 of us. And then Data goes to town where their, bully leader guy that we have in every episode like this is like, fuck you, we're not leaving. My grandfather's buried on that hill. And then a hot nerd is like, an android, sign me the hell up. And so she's like, Data, I will do anything you want. You want us to leave? Great. I will help you make us leave. Like, literally, I am so horny for science, and you are science incarnate. So she and Data come up with a plan where Data's gonna, like, challenge the leader guy and be like, oh, so, like, you're so great? I guess that'll be super great for everyone when they're all fucking dying when I keep wanting to say Sycorax. That's from Doctor Who. What are they called?
I keep calling him shellac because that's just in my brain what those combination of letters is, and I'm like, that is not what they're actually
Shellyak.
called.
Yes?
Shellyak.
Yes.
Sure.
So when the Shellyak come, they're just going to kill all of you, but at least you'll die heroically, lol. And that almost works, but then leader guy, his name starts with G, but I've forgotten it, is like, I'm going to taser Data. And everyone's like, welp, I guess we agree with you now. And so that doesn't work. And then Data's like, well, I guess I better fix a phaser so that I can demonstrate our superior firepower and be like, the Shellyak firepower is like maybe even greater than this. And so that's what he does, and that works. Everyone's like, we gotta get the hell out of here. But meanwhile, back on the ship, Picard has been trying to negotiate with the Shellyak, who are like, no, we're moving in 2 days. You got to get them out of there. And he's like, there are 15,000 people there and our transporters don't work. So like Geordi and Wes and O'Brien are trying to make the transporters work. That's not happening. And then Picard is like reading through this treaty, trying to find any loophole that can make them give them more time, because the ships to get them off the planet can't be there for 3 weeks. Finally, he finds it. He's like, you have to grant us arbitration, and the people I choose as arbiters live way the hell away, or they're asleep right now, or something, and it'll be 6 months.
They're hibernating.
Yes. And the Shellyak are like, fucking fine, you can have 3 weeks. And then Picard tells Data that his violin playing is great and full of feeling, and then I started crying. The end.
That was an excellent summary. Yeah.
Thank you. So, yes, that is finished, Captain Jesse.
This is the captain speaking. Important lesson for commanders to know is the importance of big dick energy.
So true. Okay. What?
Nothing. I'm just like, this is a very special episode about Data learning about the importance of big dick energy, actually.
Yeah, like via Shakespeare, I feel like, who is great, like a great person to, reference for that. So,
Exactly.
all right, welcome to The Bridge, where we talk about everything that doesn't go anywhere else.
Nothing is cuter than both Picard and Crusher attending Data's recital.
I
I was
know.
really just like, oh my God. Oh. It's
I
like his
know.
it's like not like it's his parents, but it's like very nice. It's very
The
like
vibe is though like it's his parents attending his recital. That's what my note was also. So that
hmm
clearly that's what it is.
yeah.
And like it especially is like parenty because, Data's like, I've been told I can't play with feeling. You guys should leave and come back tomorrow. And, you know, Picard's like, don't, or Crusher first, right? Is like, you should never apologize for the meal you're about to serve, basically. And um Data's like, but isn't it better to like be honest? And the way that she sort of like she's like, ugh, and like defers to Picard with a look, like that really makes it feel like parents, sort of tag teaming this conversation. And then Picard gets tagged in and he's like, Data, excessive honesty is disastrous. Like, you don't always have to say everything that's true just because it's true. And in this case, it's better to keep that to yourself and let us decide whether or not you're good at playing violin, basically.
Yeah, it's very good like your autistic child has anxiety and you're like, how do I say this in a way that's gonna like that I'm matching your energy?
Yeah.
In a way that's like really great. So
Oh my God. And we learn later, like at the end of the episode, that, and this also makes it feel very parenty because Picard had to leave before the recital really even started. And Crusher was like, then let me film it, like let me record it so that your dad can watch it later. Oh my God.
Beverly Crusher is not a regular mom, she's a cool mom.
She's a great mom.
Oh God. I feel like folks, this is why you gotta join our Patreon so someone could enter in a GIF from Mean Girls of Amy Poehler with her video camera like dancing in the aisleways because this is really what
Oh my God.
it's what I'm imagining.
I feel like people are going to be so upset. I've only watched Mean Girls once, and it was like a very long time ago. I'm
We
so
should put on the
sorry.
list.
Yeah,
I
let me
think
do that. Is it my turn?
it is your turn.
Okay, so I just want to, make sure we're all on the same page that these two men who come meet Data at the shuttle are a couple. Yes.
I guess I didn't think the first time, but I'm like, yeah, I totally buy this.
Because the one keeps touching the other one's arm, like every time he starts talking, and it's not like he's trying to be like, "Oh, you shouldn't share that information." There's no reason for him to be doing it aside from like intimacy. So I was just like, I can't think of a reason this is happening aside from you're married.
I'm here for this, obviously. Love more gays in this show that canonically should have had more gays. So,
Yes, yes. Okay, what do you have next?
um, it's just so silly. Whatever part of the episode when Picard, when we find out that the this intense, complex treaty is 500,000 words long, I was immediately like, you better put that on like 3x speed right now, and maybe in 6 hours you will have gotten through all of it.
Yeah. I, really, the way that they were doing that, I was like, you guys, this is a keyword search situation. Like, you just need to be control effing for like the basic words that would flag, like, oh, this might be a caveat that we can grab
Yeah.
onto.
Yeah, this is how you know that this show came out pre the popularity of home computers, because like yeah, even the computers, like you should just be able to do a little word search situation. Like I
Yeah.
know data isn't there to do that manually, lol,
Yeah.
but
Yeah, but the
yeah.
ship's computer can certainly perform a keyword search. Like,
Yeah, yeah. This is definitely one of those things where it's like, oh, you still imagine that they're reading this manually and not getting a summary from the computer.
yeah, yeah,
Oh, right, yeah, just control effing the whole thing.
right.
Mm.
Yes, okay. Uh, oh my God. So, listeners, if you didn't just watch this episode, obviously it's a data episode. You should watch the episode. But the lead dude of the village, Gershwin, what is his name? Hang
I
on.
didn't even write it down because I was just like, fuck this guy.
Goshevin. I was so close. Okay. Uh, Goshevin is played by one dude, and then his voice is dubbed by someone else because they decided they didn't like the voice of the main actor. I almost never look things up because I want you to be able to tell me things, but like, I was like, am I hallucinating? Like, what is happening? Unless the man that they cast to play Goshevin sounds like Mickey Mouse, there is nothing that could have justified them doing this dubbing situation. It's like watching a Japanese anime with English dubs. It's so weird and off-putting.
You know, I gotta be honest. I recently purchased a DVD set of the show because I've had random troubles with Paramount's awful app.
Yeah.
But the DVD I have hasn't been remastered, so it looks a little rough. So I honestly, I mean, I would like I have the captions on. I honestly didn't even notice that his mouth didn't sync
Oh,
up.
interesting.
I think I saw that afterwards, and I'm like, this is like a in, incredibly waste of your budget to like have to redub this dude. Like, just use that actor's real voice. Like that's the unrealistic part of this episode. Come on, y'all.
I know, it's so weird. I mean, so listeners, I think they said he just didn't have like the gravitas that they felt the character should have. And I'm like, that surely you should have figured that out when you did casting. But like, I mean,
Literally the
I
whole point of
wonder,
casting.
I would be really interested to hear from listeners on whether or not you noticed, because I wonder if this is a I'm an audio editor thing, because you to me, it's very clear that his audio was recorded in a sound booth as opposed to on the set. Like the way that like everyone else talking around him's voice sounds is totally different from his, but maybe it's not actually because it's not the person did a really good job of like syncing their speech with the actor. Um, it's a sound thing, so maybe it's just obvious to me.
I don't know. So it could be also that it becomes more obvious if whatever they've updated or remastered for Paramount Plus. Because like I was honestly kind of shocked about the video quality of the DVD versus like, and I'm like, do I need to buy another? Like, what is happening?
Yeah, that's so interesting that the DVDs are not the remastered ones because I think they remastered it quite a while ago.
Yeah, I know. I gotta do more research, I guess, but
It's
my
your
turn.
turn. Yeah.
This is, I think you probably noticed this. So after Data is tased, phasered by their terrible leader, I think he's like testing out like if his body works, and he just makes the funniest like gestures with his hands that I'm like, this is 110% a Brent Spinner like creative choice, and I'm like, I love it. I love a little bit of just like weird like body choices for Data when it's just like something that's like kind of silly, and I'm
Yeah.
like, I love it so much because it's like Data has a sense of whimsy, and I'm like, it's just, I don't know why it brings us so much joy. I guess I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, so yeah, I have this sort of double Troy point. The first one is that in the scene where Picard is talking to the Shellyak the first time on the bridge, like when the guy hangs up on him. What's the actor's name who plays Troy? Marina Sirtis? Is that right?
I think so.
It is, she looks like she has to pee so fucking bad. And I feel like I know from listening to interviews and stuff like that that it was very difficult to get them in and out of those jumpsuits. Although I feel like I'm thinking about an interview with Seven, the person who played Seven on Voyager, and her jumpsuit was like, I think she had to be sewn into it.
Oh yeah, that outfit was skin tight. Like Troy's outfit is form fitting. Seven of Nine's Voyager outfit was skin tight because they were trying to get stereotypical nerds to watch Voyager because heaven forbid you watch a show that had a lady captain.
I know.
Anyway,
Oh, Star Trek, never been woke before 2026. Anyway, but just the way that she's sitting, she looks like she has to pee so fucking bad. And I was just like, oh my God, everyone, give this woman 5 to go pee and come back to the set.
like just I don't know, put some Velcro in the crotch of these things. Like what is everyone doing?
So the crotch of these things is my second point because when they go over to the bridge of the Shellyak ship, bro, she has such bad camel toe. I lost my mind. I was just like,
I
you
did notice
guys, this
that.
was your best take. Like, this was not disqualifying for this fucking take. It's so bad. It's so bad. I guess I'll have Elise put it in the show notes. I feel guilty doing that, but like, it's terrible.
Yeah, this actress deserves better. Whoever was like, this take is fine. It's like,
I would be so pissed, like, for the rest of time. The only time it's acceptable is in that horny people that kill you for going in the grass episode because like even the people with penises in that episode had camel toe. So
that is true. Those are some. It's like the costume off day for the costume designers. Clearly.
yeah. Um okay, it's your turn.
I actually don't think I have anything else here.
Great. I have two more things.
All
One
right.
is that I just was so happy that they brought Wesley in to help them with the transporter thing. Amazing.
I know.
So great for them to be like, you know, who's the only other genius engineer on this ship? This 16-year-old. Go get him, you know?
Yeah, I feel like they just had to have the like. We're gonna get our best minds on the ship, and then it's like this is still literally impossible. And it's like,
Yes. Yes. And then my final point is like a follow-up to that because I love the way that Jordy does a sort of like I'm following the letter of the law but not the spirit thing where he's like, "All right, Picard, you told me that my job was to find a solution. We found a solution. It will take 15 years and 100 people." And I was just like, hell yes, this is fantastic.
you know, I feel like the end of that when Picard's like, "Oh, we figured it out." I feel like Jordy is just like, "Thank fucking Christ! This has been such a stressful 24 hours or however many hours, not 24 hours,
72.
72, 72. That's even worse.
I know.
Stressed out over this literally impossible task. I'd have been like, "Great, this is we don't even have to do the solution. I'm just done. I'm gonna go sleep for the next 20 hours.
Yeah.
Don't call me.
Yeah.
Don't badge. Well, page me?
Yeah.
That's not the right word. Don't beat me, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't actually know either what I guess call is the closest approximation.
Yeah.
Welcome to 10 Forward, where we talk about data characters. So let's talk about data if we can. I would like to talk about data.
Yes. Yeah, let's talk about data.
All right. Yeah, kick us off, please.
I I feel like I already mentioned this, but and like I think we've also talked about this both in our episode with Chuck Tingle talking about Data, but Data has so many artistic traits. It's like not even funny, which is why it is especially funny to be like, that dude has feelings. He just is autistic. Like,
Yeah.
chill out. But I feel like that conversation about Picard being like, honesty isn't for every situation is very a very sort of, I'm sure, conversation that a lot of, or a sort of thing that a lot of people with autism either have had told to them or had to learn in various ways. Because it is, I don't know, it feels very, it's very frustrating to be like, can I just not tell you the honest thing right now? Like, you're gonna have to sugarcoat this for you, but why? But why?
Yeah, but also I do feel like there's something very freeing in a lot of ways. I think this is one of the things that sort of falls into, allow me to lend context to what I'm about to say. So, listeners who are not our patrons, I wrote a newsletter about Shane from Heated Rivalry being autistic. And part of what I wrote about is something that I don't really see talked about ever, which is the ways that like learning about autistic traits can like let you stop doing things, and not in a like I'm masking more way, but in a like, oh, now that I recognize what that is, I actually would like to not do that anymore, and like feeling freed by that to be like, I now I see what that thought is, and that means I can let that go, is like a really nice feeling about some stuff. um and I do actually think that in this case where Data's like, oh, I have to tell you the truth, that like you shouldn't be here because like I'm not good at this, learning that you're doing that, your impulse to tell someone that is because autism, can, I feel like, be a relief to be like, I don't have to say that, because it invites a conversation that I would prefer not to have, where that person feels like they have to reassure me, and like I have to be like, no, I'm just telling you the truth, and like it's very awkward, and I can just not have that. Like I can just not do that, is actually a very lovely feeling to have. So I think it's one of those where it's not like, oh, I have to like be frustrated about the way that I have to communicate this, so much as it's like, ooh, I get to not do that anymore. And then I don't have to listen to Picard try to reassure me about something that I don't feel like I need to be reassured about, you know?
I think this is maybe a difference between autism and ADHD, where I feel often a lot of frustration when I can't just like, I just want to tell you the direct thing, and I have to somehow figure out how to say this to you in a way that you're not going to take.
Oh
Or
no,
maybe,
about a
yeah.
lot of things, yes. But like, do you want to tell someone like I'm not good at violin, you shouldn't be at my recital, and then listen to them be like, no, no, you are good
That's
at
true.
violin, when you
Yeah.
weren't saying that in a self-deprecating way,
Yeah. No, that's
right?
true. Yeah.
Because it's not always the case that it's like good to feel like you have to communicate something,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
I feel like when I learned that I could just like make up a like stock answer about like why I chose the name that I chose, that like didn't go into any of the like depths of my feelings or even like mention gender at all, I was like, hell yeah. Like, I don't have to answer that question truthfully. I can just make up whatever I want, and that's okay sometimes. Oh my God, that was so great. I was just like free from having to like divulge a bunch of personal information to like a stranger, you know?
Yeah. Which I love for you, because who wants to do that?
Exactly.
Unless you're on a podcast right now. Y'all are different. It's okay. We can't actually see our audience. So,
Yeah, yes.
um, anyway, yeah, I just feel like in general, this episode for Data feels like an important moment of growth in his clear desire to be like part of the command, like a commanding officer, but this sort of like messy feeling diplomacy is like a thing that he has to learn how to maneuver in order to sort of become, more like a Riker or something, you know?
Yes. Um,
Um,
I know this is like later in the episode, but I that is one of the things that I had a lot of feelings about is like Data calls Riker to basically be like, I am out of my depths here, man. And Riker's having a bad day. He's in a bad mood, whatever. But he's like, I can't help you. Like, you're responsible for this. I'm not down there. I don't know what's going on with these people. And I was just like, he just needs you to reassure him and maybe offer him like a script or two to try out, you know?
yeah.
Like, he can do this, but like he trusts you and he values your opinions. And then we see not Adrian. What is her name?
I literally didn't even write it down. I'm sorry.
Uh,
She's in like three scenes. I'm like, I'm.
Ardrian. Um, she does exactly that. She's like, allow me to put reassure you that you are capable of this and like give you a script. And Data's like, great, that is everything I needed. Thank you so much. I can now do this task.
Which is great because I sort of feel like his sort of end solution is him channeling his inner theater kid, which I'm just
Totally.
like, oh yeah, look, you're really using your holodeck time
I
really
know, that's
fully.
exactly what I thought.
Which I love because I feel like probably a lot of theater kids are like, wow, being able to learn I use in theater in real life, real cool. I can just fake it till you make it. Yeah, fake it till you make it. Great.
Yeah.
uh
Yeah. Oh my God. Jumping all the way back to the recital, can I just say, so like Data is very nervous and very self-conscious about his violin playing, and I think Picard being there really amplifies his nerves. And then Picard has to leave, you know, he gets called to the bridge, and I was like, this would be solved if he had a phone. Like, it's so funny, but because Data is crushed, he's like, yeah, my violin playing is so bad, Picard could only listen to 10 seconds before he was out of here, which is not who Picard is. It could be the worst thing in the world, and Picard would have stayed there for the whole thing. But if he had a cell phone and he was like, you know, okay, and just like blocking the receiver and like rushing out, Data would be like, Picard got a call. He has to go to the bridge now. Like this, his feelings could have been spared.
I know. It's like this is another funny thing where it's infamously iPads are inspired by the pads that they have in Star Trek, but I really honestly feel like it's not until lower decks where you see characters use the pads like we would use an iPad, where you're getting like messages, you're getting like emails, you can do video calls. Because I'm just like, why do they just text? There's not a mechanism to just text Picard, which is wild.
Yeah, that wouldn't have solved the problem though, because I just want a visual communicator to Data that Picard is leaving for a reason that is not Data's violin
Yeah,
playing, you know?
fair. Yeah, I feel like also this episode did a really good job of sort of portraying Data's sort of just confusion about the whole situation, where he's like, it's sort of like, I'm telling you the stove is hot, and you're like, no, we don't care. I'm gonna touch it, and it's like, but the stove is hot. Like what? And just like this sort of progression of having to be like, how do I tell you the stove is hot without literally putting your hand against this hot stove? Because that would be bad.
Right.
um, and yeah, it's just it's not a logical, quote unquote, uh like these decisions aren't like following a logical end, except for some, I think, kind of weird manifest destiny shit we'll talk about in a little bit.
Yeah.
But I I appreciate where Data finally gets is this like, all right, talking clearly isn't working at all, even though it should. So I guess I have to do a practical demonstration very dramatically,
Yes.
which I love. Um because I feel like dudes like this terrible leaders. Just like this is the only thing that's gonna get through to you, I think. And Data achieves it without having a help of a Riker, which I think you're right could have been nice to get that sort of feedback and like support. Um, but he perseveres at the end. Yeah,
Can you
what
even see with that sunbeam?
I can. I'm just gonna move out of this sunbeam a little bit. Um, yeah. Also, Data made a friend who
Did.
also has autism, I think. I'm like, all right, okay. Like, I mean, we find each other when you're, you know, uh, wired differently. So,
LOL.
I'm glad, LOL, yes. And so I'm glad you found a friend, even though I feel like she maybe didn't have many autistic friends like Data. Because I'm just like, he is showing you affection, but whatever. Okay. He is.
I mean, she just has a crush. I feel like she's testing the waters in a inappropriate way, which is fine, you know? Um, she's skipping many steps that one should take before just like kissing someone to see if they like you back. But like,
Yeah, again, another thing that I feel maybe it's just indicative of this colony where they're just like verbal communication maybe is not a thing that maybe they're valuing a lot. They're like, you
yeah.
got to action, a lot of action. It's just like,
She's also clearly like, yeah, I don't think she has a ton of friends. She's the only one who's like building a weird robot and whatever.
yeah, that's definitely a lady who has built her own vibrator, by the way.
I thought it was really sweet, her like immediate crush on Data, and also so understandable.
Yeah, I actually was thinking about this because obviously we see that Data is the ability for him to care about people and you know be interested romantically. It's there. I'm just like he's just on the almost say he's just on the gray ace spectrum. He's like I need to know you before the feelings develop.
Yeah.
And it's like I've known you for 72 hours in this intense high stress situation. This is not it actually.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
He's also taken.
also true. Also, you're not his type.
Yeah, exactly.
uh,
Okay, so I guess sort of my last data points are really like Picard points. So if you want to transition into talking about Picard, we could do that.
yeah. The Picard is really the B plot, I think, which is normally not what happens. But yeah, he's the B plot. Honestly, I feel like my favorite part is just his growing frustration with the aliens and this treaty and just like and so when he figures it out, he is just reveling in it so much. Like I'm just like, oh, I love Cunty Picard
Yeah.
actually.
Listeners, for context, he talks the aliens into giving them the time that they need, and then hangs up on them, and then they try to call back, and he makes them wait for like a full minute while everyone on the bridge just like looks at him to be like, how long are you gonna make them wait? And he's like, as long as I fucking want.
Yeah, he
Riker's
gets
sitting
up.
there getting hornier and hornier the longer he watches Picard do this.
Riker also loves cunty Picard. Yeah, Picard listeners, Picard gets up to like brush off the non-existent dust on the like plaque that commemorates the building of the Enterprise. Just so casually to be like, oh, let me just buff this with my hand. Like you, you're just letting these folks stew before you call them back. It's just, it's so good because I just love every instance when Picard's sort of cool facade breaks, and you really am just like, I feel like kind of like a Vulcan. There's a lot of passions under there that he's like, I really gotta keep this on a tight leash.
Yeah,
And when
yeah,
he lets loose a little bit, it's so enjoyable.
yeah.
So yeah.
It's like the severely toned down version of Giles stopping to clean his glasses while he's beating the shit out of Ethan Rain, which is like one of the hottest things that's ever happened.
I mean, honestly, I feel like that scene was just also foreplay because of how
Oh, totally.
their sexual chemistry slash their exes.
Listeners, for the record, Jesse is cleaning their glasses right now. I don't know if they're like trying to court you
Oh my
or
god, sorry. I just with the sun, I really noticed how much gunk is on
oh,
my eyeglasses.
yeah.
Um, yeah.
Uh,
What?
I also really loved when Picard first calls the Shellyak.
Mhm.
Um, he is ready. He is ready to have this conversation, and he's like got his speech, and he like starts to give his speech, and they just hang up on him, and the look on his face, he is like confused and devastated, where he's like, but my speech. Like
I worked so hard
you
on
didn't
my
want to hear my
speech.
speech.
He's always giving a speech, and this time they just leave him on, not even on red. They just hung up.
They just hung up.
Oh, I feel like he was. Oh, he was so pissed.
He was.
uh,
Okay, I want to circle back to the Data stuff. So, as we said before, listeners, Picard watches Data's recital after the fact because he missed it. And then he's like, Data, your playing is beautiful. Like, it shows so much feeling. And Data's like, no, that's impossible. As I've been explaining for the last 3 days, I don't have any feelings. And Picard's like, for the first time, what we've been calling for this whole fucking time, where he's like, I'll believe you, basically. He's like, I simply don't think that's true. And I was so elated to finally have someone just straight up say to Data, like, I simply don't think that's true.
and I think this is an interesting bookend to the beginning of the episode when Data is sort of when Picard gives Data this advice of, or Picard and Crusher are kind of like, you don't have to tell us about, right, you don't have to tell us the meal that you made is bad, like just serve it. And I think maybe Picard is like maybe starting to realize that Data is doing this about his feelings, where he keeps saying he doesn't have feelings, but he clearly has feelings, and it's sort of just a like, are you trying, is this part of what's holding you back, kind of? Is this like
Right,
in your mind you're like, I don't have feelings, all these things that are happening are not feelings, even though
right.
they're very clearly feelings, which gets reinforced by the crew for the first two seasons. And so it is really nice to see Picard kind of maybe be like, wait a minute, is this also a thing?
Right. Yeah.
um so yeah.
Right. Just because your creator told you a thing was true doesn't actually mean that we have to believe that over the evidence in front of our eyes, you know?
Yeah. So also at the end of the episode when Picard and Data are talking and Picard's just sort of like, you're not emotionless. Your violin style is great. And Data kind of explains it as, oh, I just combined two different types of, artist styles. And Picard didn't totally say it, but I'm like, that is literally so much of creating art where I'm like, Data, that is your unique style then. And then I was like, Data has a soul, and I would like for us to just say that, um, because Data isn't creating AI art. Like, he is combining styles and like sort of using clearly his taste to be like, well, these two styles are what I want to use for my own creative output. And what was the joke that he said that like the other told me his music didn't have like soul or whatever, and I'm like, I don't know if they're the arbitrators of that, but I'm like, Data, your music does have soul, and you also have a soul, and I will probably bring this up in later episodes, but I'm like, Data, if they gave you some fucking like turntables or some drums, you would also just be like, let me create a style that would be unique to him as a person.
Right, right. And I
Also,
feel like, in case there's any confusion, when you say he's not creating AI art, you mean he's not creating like LLM art, not
yes,
what we currently call AI art.
yes,
Um, it's not slop,
it is
is
not slop
a way we could summarize that.
because he
Um,
is a person.
right, because he's making choices. You
Yeah,
know, he might be like using these two things as his point of reference, but then he's making choices about how he wants to combine them, what he wants to use. He's not running an algorithm to like put them together. He
yeah,
is, and he says like I'm getting more creative, and it's like you can't do that if you don't have feelings, my guy. That's
yeah.
that's not a thing.
And you want to create music, dude. Like, I'm like, that is, I don't know.
Yeah.
I think maybe one of the art forms maybe most people associate with like having a soul, having like, because there's a lot of really bad music out there. And then there's like music where you're just like, wow, I am so touched because this is like, you are pouring yourself into this music. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
anyway,
Which is a thing that humans love to do,
yep,
contrary to whoever the fuck AI creator guy who was like,
yep,
notoriously people hate learning to play the guitar. Um,
yeah. I only want to consume art made by people.
yeah.
So,
Welcome to the Holodeck, where we talk about aesthetics. And there is an image roundup for every episode. So go ahead and click the link in the show notes if you want to look at that. And if you want those to be inserted right into the video, go ahead and go to patreon.com/#ruthless and help us make enough money to be able to hire someone to make that happen. Thank y'all.
my only point here is about these colonists' outfits, which is extremely Firefly brown coat aesthetics.
Some of them, Ardrian is dressed like the overworked single mom at the beginning of any 80s movie that is about her son who is getting up to something because his mom is at work all the time.
I mean, yeah, I think it's that snatched waist on her, like high tight waisted pants that she's wearing.
And like twill or whatever the top is made out of, like she
Yeah,
looks like she's about to get a cell phone call that she has to go to the law office where she works and her kid has to eat a TV dinner again because of
yeah,
that.
she has a big presentation coming up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
But yeah, a lot of the other, because like when we see that gay couple, I'm like, oh, look at these like long coats and this just sort of vaguely Western vibe, which I feel like is clearly, I'm assuming, an intentional vibe that they're going for, like vaguely Westerny,
Probably, yeah, because
maybe.
they're like settlers.
Yep. Yeah, they're like having water is important. They're like living really hard. Maybe, not living. We don't see a lot of old people in these scenes, maybe not living super long.
Yeah,
I mean, there's 15,000 people, so they're doing well enough to support 15,000. It's a lot of people.
yeah, yeah. So one of my things here is actually not something you guys need to go look at, but it is a correction for you, Jesse. In our last episode, you were like, Troy got a new outfit, but she did not. This is the same thing she was wearing in season two,
Okay.
just for the
Why?
record.
Why did I? Why did I think that she had a new outfit?
She gets a new
Okay.
outfit at some point, but it is not this season,
Okay.
unfortunately.
All right.
My
I appreciate
only,
that.
yeah, I just feel like it's the kind of thing where if we don't say it on the record, someone's going to be like,
Yeah.
so the only other thing that I feel like needs to be talked about is that so Ardrian is into robots and she's been building robots and she has built the silliest little guy. It is such a funny little robot. I love it so much.
It feels a little bit Star Wars, I have to say.
Totally.
Like I'm just like
Yes.
like a little. You made a little friend, and like who doesn't want a little robot friend? That's
It's a little droid, but it has like googly eyes almost. It's so cute.
yeah.
And the scene too, she's like, none of the robots I've made are half as sophisticated as you. And Data like glances at it and is like, I would say not. It's so funny. Welcome to the Observation Lounge, where we talk about things that are fucked up. And I feel like we're going to be talking about things that are pretty fucked up right now. So if like you're not interested in thinking about the horrors, it's okay to skip this section, you know?
Yeah. I feel like my notes are a little bit all over the place because I was trying to sort of think out this whole thing with these like settlers and then like the whatever those aliens are called, the
Shellyak.
the Shellyak, and I think I was just like trying to suss out how I felt about these folks' sort of response to Data being like, y'all need to leave, actually, if you want to live. And then being like, no. Um, and like, honestly, I feel like just part of it is that their leader is so shitty. It was just very much like, I don't know, like weird, like cowboy vibe, like in a way where I'm just like, I don't know. But it's also like, you've been there for like several generations. So like, I kind of understand where you're like coming from, and they haven't displaced anyone by living here. So I don't know.
Yeah, I feel like it's because the thing is, my grandfather is buried on that hill is a totally legitimate reason to be like, I'm not letting someone just come take my land because like who we are, despite what they say in Thor Ragnarok, like Asgard isn't a people, it's isn't a place, it's a people, but like is that as separatable as that, you know?
Yeah.
And I feel like it just feels very, you know, I don't think it's possible to watch this episode without thinking about Israel and Palestine and like, well, you can just like, why does the land matter? And like, you should leave because they have bigger guns is like not the argument that I feel like maybe they thought it was when they were writing this episode. And they wrote Goshevin so unlikable that it makes it easier to be on Data and Picard's side than it maybe would be if he was a more likable character.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it maybe just feels like that point of the episode is like maybe not super thought out because it's just like the driving force of like this shitty dude who's being shitty to Data versus a sort of like maybe having I'm trying to say a better maybe narrative of like the colonist side because like you're
Right,
because
because
I
this
cause,
episode is about Data. It's not about like how much is like your identity rooted in the place that you are rooted in, you know?
yeah, and I mean it is I don't know. I think they try to get around it with being like, well, you guys crash landed here. You weren't supposed to be here in the first place. Versus a like, we've always been here, kind of like like native, like storyline or 3 point. Oh my god, words right now. So I think I think it makes it feel kind of uneven to be like, the Shellyak aliens like didn't even know that you were here, and like that maybe could have been a different direction to take this episode versus sort of it being like Data needs to know how to, you know, outman this fucking chode.
Yeah.
But yeah, it doesn't. I feel like it does raise eyebrows in 2026 to be like, I don't know about the handling of this.
Right. Yeah. And then, yeah, I mean, as much as I was like, Data, you just have to like get out your phaser so that this guy realizes that like, you know, he he is if he's gonna die for this, he needs to recognize that that's what he's going into, basically. Um, Data's like, all right, so what I'm gonna do now is like destroy the aqueduct, like the thing that y'all are most proud of. Um, and I don't know, maybe I was being naive, but I was like, he's gonna threaten to do that. Like he's gonna phaser these people and be like, and now I'm gonna blow up your aqueduct, so like you gotta go. But then he like does it, and I was like, I don't know about like destroying infrastructure as a way to like convince people that you're correct and that they need to leave a place, you know?
That is true. I honestly thought he was gonna blow up like a chunk of it in the front. Like there's like it doesn't look like a fountain, right? Like he's just gonna blow that part up. But
Right.
yeah, he blew up the whole aqueduct, and it's just like, okay, I I don't know, because I feel there's a part of me where I just don't know. I just don't know about the resolution of this situation, because even as a prison abolitionist, as a mostly pacifist, I'm kind of like, if violence is the question, then I'm like, violence can be the answer. But I don't know if Data blowing up their entire aqueduct is the correct answer. Like it was shitty of that dude to tase Data and think that he murdered him, which is just like, bro, what the fuck? But that seems like a very. I feel like Data escalated it in a way where I'm like, I don't know about this, and like if this is in line with like the Federation like values.
Yeah. And I mean, we will see that, I mean, obviously this continues to be um very much in line with the way that the Federation thinks about place, because this is exactly what they do with the Cardassian Treaty, which is what causes the Maquis to exist. And then they spend a bunch of time being like, why do the Maquis exist? We simply do not understand this. Like, what is your attachment to the place that you live? Like, this is so weird. And I find that to be very strange, you know?
I that honestly might be a failure of the writers, where it's like part of whiteness is just being so cut off from like any kind of cultural heritage.
Yeah.
Like it's I'm just, and like I'm not thinking about like people who are like Italian or like Greek or what have you. Like I'm talking about American whiteness that is just divorced of like cultural holidays, food. You're just sort of like, I'm just a white American, which is pretty empty,
Yeah.
an empty sort of uh, identity. And so I feel like being like, oh, like, okay, so you lived in New Orleans and like your entire neighborhood flooded. We'll just move you to Texas. Like, how is this? Well, you're alive. Like, you're living. Like, why are you upset about this? And
Yeah.
it's just like, oh, you don't understand the like importance of like a culture that is place based and community based, and like how those things sort of feed into like your kind of your like your culture and sense of self and how
Yeah.
traumatic that is. That's why gentrification is violence. Like being priced out of like you've lived your entire life fucking sucks.
Yeah.
Like so, and but I think that that's sometimes hard for some white people to grasp because it's just like, oh, you leave your house, you move wherever, like you just move around, like you're making a logical choice to be in a better school district, have a bigger house, whatever, versus like, oh, I live in this community because I want to be in this around these people and like this stuff and like live in a capital C community that, you know.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah. And I think sometimes things come up in Star Trek where you're just like, this is really a thing where if you had a more diverse writing room, maybe you would attach this. You maybe would have thought differently about this idea.
Yeah.
You know?
I do find it really interesting that the framing of the episode and the writing of Goshevin is so effective to making us, the viewer, intuitively side with Data and, by extension, the Federation on the no, of course you have to just leave, you know, because I feel like it was like every time I went to take a note about it, I was like, do I agree with what I'm about to write down? I feel like was where this episode had me because I was watching it being like, yeah, you guys are all being so unreasonable. Like, Data's correct. You just have to leave. These scary ass aliens are going to come kill you all. And then I would go to write it down and be like, I don't think I agree with that. you know?
Yeah, I think making that guy unlikable. Actually, it's not even that. I think making that one guy seem to be their supreme ruler.
Yeah.
Like, even if there was one other person being like, actually, I want my kids to live, so I don't want to die on this planet. Like, like even just having what seemed like a better government besides this one dude being in charge, and you're like, that guy?
Or having
Really?
other people talking about why they wanted to stay, too.
Yeah.
Other people being like, yes, also my grandfather is buried on that mountain. Also, yes, like, I, helped expand this aqueduct. Like, I have poured myself into creating this place and this community, and it matters to me, would have also gone a long way to complicating it. But again, this episode isn't about this. This episode is about Data. And so there wasn't room for them to make that conversation be bigger, I think, than it is.
Yeah. Yeah, honestly, I think, and maybe the reason I was thinking about it in more of a sort of manifest destiny, sort of white people moving west of the United States and like murdering all the indigenous people, is that
Like thinking about the colonists in that frame.
sort of because it's like, there are people out west who have been there for like 4 generations, and it's like, but it's like, okay, but before that 4 generations, there are people living there for hundreds of thousands of years. And obviously this isn't a like, and therefore you shouldn't like have land back. But I think it does complicate, not like complicate. I think it adds an extra layer where it's like, well, you know, your your great grandfather built this shit, and now this is my home and my livelihood, and it's sort of just like that is a point of tension, even though it's like you shouldn't have even been here in the first place, but you are here now, and now what? You know?
Well, I mean, land back doesn't mean people move. It just means that the stewardship and responsibility, like the law and the yeah, the people in charge of making decisions about what happens with that land is handed back to the indigenous community.
Oh, I think there are people I think there are people who should probably leave the land and give it
I
back
mean,
to
probably,
indigenous.
but the actual movement, I think,
Yeah,
is
yeah, yeah,
very important for people to understand that it doesn't mean like you have to
yeah,
leave your home. Because I feel like
yeah,
that misunderstanding is like a huge reason why so many people are not on board with the land back movement is people being like, well, do I have to like move to Europe? Like, what the fuck would that mean? And it's like, no, it just means that the indigenous community gets to be in charge and make the decisions, which is what should be happening. Um, so yes, I feel like that's
Thank
really
you.
important.
Yes, thank you for the clarification. I guess I was specifically, there's that movie Colors of the Flower Moon about a bunch of indigenous people having their land stolen in Oklahoma, and like that OG family still quote unquote owns that land today, and that's like, and I'm just like, get them the fuck off of it, and they're just like all rich, terrible conservatives, and it's just like, oh, like no, those particular folks should give their land back.
Right, but that's like
Yeah,
that's a feelings based thing and not a not
yeah,
a,
that
a
is true.
logistics based thing.
That is true.
Um, I can
So
try to remember to put links in the show notes for anyone who wants to read more about the land back movement because I would love for more people to get behind that.
yes, you should, because as you can see with our climate change, white Americans are not good at land stewardship at all. Not
No.
in the slightest. And look at the wildfires out west, and you're just like, leaving nature alone is actually not a good stewardship of our environment that has been shaped by people living here.
Yeah.
So,
Um, I know we
and
should stop talking because we've been talking for so long. I feel like the difference with these folks though is that they didn't displace anyone to be here. Like they are the first people to be living on this land. So despite the fact that it's only 90 years, they didn't take this space,
yeah,
in any sort of immoral way. They just
yeah.
ended up here.
Which is why I think it feels weird for Day to show up and be like, there's actually this treaty you guys have never heard of between people that you're not associated with that means y'all have to go, which feels really gross.
Yeah.
Like, it feels very kicking indigenous people off their land kind of
Yeah.
feel, And as opposed to sort of engaging with that sort of concept, it's just sort of like, but that dude sucks, and he should think about people being alive versus his own ego about live having pride in the place that he lives,
Right.
and like a
Yep.
connection to it. So, yeah, yeah, this whole part was a mess.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
But I mean, in a way that I think lends to a really interesting conversation about, especially just about like the the framing of narrative and the way that that can affect how you think about a thing. Because I think that's really interesting.
I know.
Welcome to the Ready Room where we dig into stuff.
I have to say that it really frustrated me that clearly Picard is in contact with the Federation in some capacity, because he's like, we can't get any ships out here for like 3 weeks. They couldn't have gotten like five diplomats or lawyers on a video call to help him figure out this treaty thing. I'm like, what is even the point of the Federation if they can't, you can't pry someone out of their office to be like, what you love is a puzzle. Here's this puzzle about this 500,000 word treaty with these aliens that think humans are roaches. Help Picard. Help Picard out here.
No, that's such a good point. Oh my God. Yeah, what are they doing? I feel like half the time the entire Federation is just like, let the Enterprise handle it.
Because like it's not even like it's Voyager where they literally are not in communication with anyone from the Federation. They're in the Alpha Quadrant. Like presumably there's other ships, even if they're not a flagship around. So I'm just like, what is the point? What is the point of the Federation? Like, what are y'all doing?
Yeah.
Clearly
Yeah.
nothing. I mean, I think we've already gotten to sort of the higher up in Starfleet you get, the more useless you are. I think that's sort
Yeah.
of my overall vibe of Starfleet's command, which I guess, surprise, is very realistic.
Yeah.
But just like you have other allies, like there aren't any Vulcan scientists. Like a Vulcan could crush this probably. Honestly, like
I was just thinking that. I know. I'm like, You guys, you have, yeah, so many. Yeah, surely there's like an entire legal department, dedicated, or like a ton of fucking librarians and stuff too. Just like call up the nerds. I know it's all nerds all the way down in Starfleet, but like call up
Yeah,
the nerds that specialize in this and be like, help me
yeah,
control F this fucking treaty for something that's gonna let me stall for a little bit longer.
I know. It's like you have a whole federation of cultures and peoples to help each other out. Why does it seem like the Enterprise is always just like are you just on the outer edges where it's like we're like really 2 weeks away, even at like warp 9? Because
I mean, I think really, unfortunately, the problem of this is simply that it has to be the people on the Enterprise doing it, but it does make the Federation look pretty useless.
which maybe that is just the sort of undercurrent is that the Federation is kind of like a lot of imperfect bodies of government. Maybe kind of useless, you know.
Yeah.
So anyway,
All right. So that is the end of this episode. Thank you all so much for listening. Don't forget to check out all of our Pride stuff. If you're watching this on YouTube, like and subscribe. If you're listening to it, make sure you're following the podcast. Write us reviews. Tell your friends. It's Pride Month. You have to support queer and trans people. It's the law. So
yeah,
do
yeah,
that.
yeah. Give us a good review, whatever podcast app you're using. I use Pocket Cast. They don't have written reviews, but all of our podcasts are highly rated, like across the board. So thanks everyone who has left us
Yeah.
like a 4 or 5 star rating on Pocket
Depending on the
Cast.
number of stars you're allowed to leave, for the
Yeah.
record.
Thank you for leaving the max amount of stars. That's what I was trying to get
Yeah.
to because I don't remember how many stars it was. But thanks. And that's really great. So keep telling your friends and yeah, ranking us real high because we're so great.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Oh, what do I have to say? All this stuff. Also, the podcast is on Instagram at hashtag Ruthless. We're sort of on Blue Sky at hashtag Ruthless. Wait, Instagram at hashtag Ruthless Pods, sort of on Blue Sky at hashtag Ruthless. This show and all of our shows are produced, mixed, and edited by me. Jesse is the co-creative director and the Riker Data combo to my Picard. And our tedious taskmaster, Elise, takes care of many of the most tedious tasks, like the image roundups and the descriptions of those.
Yeah.
So,
Elise would have controlled F the fuck out of that document. So
so true. So true. All right. And until next time.
two to beam up.